regulatory reform a hot-button issue in Washington these days. Peter Cook is standing by now at the American Bankers Association with a major player. That is Richard Shelby, of course, the senator. Peter?
Thanks very much, Betty. Here with Senator Richard Shelby, the ranking Republican on the Senate Banking Committee, one of the keynote speakers here at the American Bankers Association Government Relations Summit. Senator Shelby, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. You got some cheers in there from the audience of bankers when you expressed opposition, essentially, to what you've seen from Senator Dodd right now in terms of regulatory reform. Where do we stand right now? I know you met with him last night.
Well, we met last night, but, you know, he's put forth over a 1,300-page bill that we're trying to analyze, evaluate, dissect, see what's in his bill, what we like, what we can agree on, and what needs to be improved. And we've got a long weekend, a lot of midnight oil to go before Monday. We're a long way from any agreement on this bill. I don't believe that the bill that's been proposed will pick up any Republican support.
You'd rather have no bill this year than what you're seeing right now from Senator Dodd?
Well, I think I would never say I'd rather have no bill. I'd rather have no bill than unless it's a good bill. And this bill, we wouldn't support this bill in its present form.
Do you expect on Monday, when the markup begins in the Banking Committee, to have the opportunity to offer amendments to make changes? Will you offer an alternative bill?
Well, we'll keep our options open. Our staffs are working on this now. A lot of the members of the Banking Committee, including myself, we're looking at a lot of amendments to different sections. We'll decide what our tactics and strategy will be to offer amendments or offer a substitute or whatever between now and next week.
All right, let me ask you about one particular component of this plan, and that is the idea of the Fed supervising only the largest institutions, those with assets over $50 billion. Yesterday, the Fed chairman came out strongly in opposition to that. We've heard from two Fed officials here at this conference saying that would be a bad idea. The Fed needs to be able to oversee the smaller banks to give it a better sense of what's going on in the economy. What do you make of those arguments?
Well, I have been very critical of the Fed, as you well know, in their regulatory role in the past several years, well, in the last 18 months. And this is a proposal by Senator Dodd right now to strip the Fed of a lot of its power, but to leave a lot there with it. This is all in flux. I'm sure it's subject to debate, subject to amendment, and subject to revision, but it's too early to say what the final product will be.
But if you had to decide right now whether the Fed should have the full supervisory jurisdiction that it has now or a smaller jurisdiction, again, you've been critical of the Fed.
I'm not sure. I would be very careful of putting too much in the Fed. The Fed is under the proposals that we have made and the proposals Dodd has made would play still a powerful role in the banking system. I've looked around at a lot of the other regulatory failures. The Fed had regulatory failures, but the Fed, I think, has to play a role, especially with the big banks, and how deep it goes into the smaller banks and the regulation of the whole banking system is up to debate.
All right, Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama, thanks for taking time out to speak with us today. We'll be following that markup next week in the Senate Banking Committee. With that, Betty, we'll send it back to you in New York.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Peter, thank you so much.